Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this. Hey everybody, welcome to the Champion Minded podcast, or welcome back to it. I'm Allistair McCaw. In this episode, we are talking meetings. And, when I ask that question, what's the first thing you think about when you hear the word meeting? It's usually with a negative response. It's things like not productive, time consuming, no agenda, all these types of things that I want to hear. So I want to share with you this week my 5A's of holding an effective meeting. And if there's one thing I've really learned, and it's this: the productivity of a meeting depends on one thing: the leadership, the person that is holding the meeting. And I'm going to share with you these 5A's, which have really helped me. I came up with them, which helped me with my structure. And obviously when I advise organizations and teams that I go visit, to the leaders and coaches or managers, whoever it may be, is that these are the best ways to have a productive and effective meeting. So here we go. First off, the first A is agenda. Have an agenda. Make sure that you plan ahead what you want to say, what you want to achieve from the meeting. Of course, the various topics, write things down. I always recommend that you keep a book, which is specifically for meetings and things that have maybe come up during your day. If you don't write things down, you're going to forget. But things that have come up during your day that you thought, we need to address that in the meeting, or something you've maybe seen, one of the standards being violated, or something that needs to be addressed, write it down. But before you go into a meeting, make sure that you have an agenda, you have structure. You have a game plan to the meeting. That's the first thing, very important. There's nothing worse than a meeting that just has no structure. Conversation is going around in circles. Understand that everybody in that meeting has somewhere else to go, or has something else to do. In meetings, it's not about you as the leader, it's about the team. All right? So, a lot of times, a lot of leaders or managers, they feel that that's their show. That's their time to show their leadership, for example. But the main purpose of a meeting is to discuss things within the team that can improve the team, which is important to stay cognizant of. Number 2, acknowledge the wins. And what do I mean by that is acknowledge the positives. Start off a meeting with acknowledging what we are doing well as a team. It might be something that's happened in the office or in the team, where a standard has been promoted. Maybe there's been better time management. Maybe there's been more better teamwork, whatever it may be, but acknowledge the wins. And this is something you can do, not just the leaders sharing what they've seen, but also the team. Involve the team members here as well, where they can share that, hey, I feel we've done a lot better this week on that thing, whatever it may be. Recognize achievements. This really sets the tone for a meeting as well, is that if you start off with the negatives, this is what we're doing wrong, that just deflates the energy within that meeting. So start off with something positive, very important. Number 3 in the 5A's of effective meetings is address the current issues, topics of discussion. So, we can call this the meat of the meeting if you want, the meat that's in between the sandwich of, the purpose of why you're there, for, the main reasons, the topics that you need to discuss. And of course, again, like I said, during the week, write things down. Keep things in a book or whatever it may be, that you're able to bring those forward to the meeting. You're not going to remember everything. So the third one is address the current issues. Maybe there's been things within the standards that have been violated, behaviors, actions, whatever it may be. Address that. Of course, address the topics that need to be brought forward as well. Number 4 is allow for voices and feedback. So again, the point of meetings is not you just talking as the leader. It's hearing the opinions of others. And what's very important here is, and we're going to get onto this with regards the 4 rules I have for meetings, is time allocated. you might have 15 people in the room. That is going to take a long time to get around to hear each person's opinion. So, as a leader, you have to control the time. You have to control the climate, as I like to say. So, try have other voices included, but be cognizant of the time. Obviously, if there's a lot of people in the room, sometimes it's obviously pretty difficult to do. So, number 4 is allow for voices and feedback. Number 5 in the 5 A's of an effective meeting is the action steps. So there has to be an action step. There has to be either some allocating of roles, for example. So you might agree on certain things or action steps that need to take place, but make sure there's clarity on who is carrying out those things. Make sure there's clarity before you leave that meeting. That is the most important thing. That is one of the main goals of meetings, is great communication, which leads to clarity. And a lot of the times in organizations, it's lack of clarity that leads to mistakes, that leads to failures, that leads to not understanding each other, for example. So make sure that your last one is with regards clarity and allocating the roles to the action steps that have been taken. So again, the 5 A's of an effective meeting. Number 1, have an agenda. Okay, have a game plan. Number 2, acknowledge the wins, acknowledge the positives. Guys, this is what we're doing well this week, for example. Number 3, address current issues and the topics of discussion. Again, the meat of your sandwich. Number 4, allow for voices and feedback. And number 5, action steps. 4 rules that I have for meetings. And, I think this is very, very important to take note of, because, again, meetings can be unproductive. Meetings can take too long. They can go around in circles, for example. But number 1, start and finish on time. This is a must, guys. Again, people have things to do. People have other meetings to go to. People have other appointments to go to or commitments to have. So take that into mind. But start and finish on time. I am not a big guy on long meetings. Obviously, sometimes there has to be longer meetings. But, 15 minutes for a meeting is enough. You're able to keep attention, get to the point when you have a limited time. So, for example, 15 minutes. And this is something I do with colleges, for example, is they have a culture meeting once a week. And the rule is that it's no longer than 15 minutes, and it follows these 5 A's that we've discussed here. And everybody, knows what to expect. They know they're going to be out of there in 15 minutes, and you can keep their attention. So keep meetings short. Number 2, the leader controls the climate. Again, you have to be, as a leader, or the person that's running the meeting, is in control of the time, of how much time is allocated to each subject. And even on meetings, for example, I'll have, minutes. For example, the 1st minute to the 5th minute is acknowledging the wins. The 5th minute to the 8th minute or 10th minute is addressing current issues. So, have it set out in time and stick to the time. That's the most important thing. Number 3, important to have minutes of the meeting taken. Because again, you're not going to remember everything, and you might have multiple meetings in the week. How are you going to remember everything? So make sure there's the minutes of the meeting taking. Have someone do that, and then send that out to the team afterwards. And then number 4, encourage note taking. If you're a leader and there's someone sitting there and they're taking notes or they're taking things down, it shows commitment. It shows involvement. It also sets the tone for the rest of the room as well. So encourage note taking. So those 4 again: start and finish on time. Number 2, the leader controls the climate. Number 3, minutes of the meeting taken. And number 4, encourage note taking. Guys, meetings can become your most positive part of your week. I promise you, the communication and the clarity you get from meetings is one of the most important things in your organization, no matter what you do. So there you have it, another episode in the bag. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode. Remember that this podcast is available on YouTube and on iTunes. Also, a big shout out to all of you who have taken the time to leave a review. Connect with me on social media, on Twitter at Allistair McCall, on Facebook, Allistair McCall page, and on Instagram, Be Champion Minded. So remember, you were made for greatness. Now go do the work. Stay champion minded.